Hey friends, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, which means that I have to go to the grocery store and get food for Thanksgiving. And I already got my turkey because I saw it on sale at Fred Meyer's yesterday, and it was actually less expensive than what I was gonna do originally, so you know I had to grab it. So all I have to really focus on is some sides and dessert. Okay, I'm headed to the car wash first because I got a car washing membership that's only worth it if I go at least once a week. I mainly got it because I work primarily in my vehicle, so having a clean car is a must, and it would just get so freaking dirty. And they have those really easy to use vacuums, and I just feel like that's so worth it. So I really mainly go for the vacuums. But the car wash is a plus, and I have to go at least once a week. Plus, it's right next to the grocery store, so it's really convenient for me. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, I would not be using this car washing membership if I didn't already have a beater. I have a matte white Toyota Camry 1996 with a little duct tape on the outside. Okay, she's a beater. I've noticed so many scratches on my vehicle now that I've started using this car washing membership, and honestly, I'm in a place where I don't really care if I'm gonna have a beater right now. I'm at least gonna treat myself to this easy and convenient car wash. But if you do have a nice car, I would probably recommend a touchless car wash if you really wanted the vacuums like that, because it will scratch your car up. That is looking pretty clean to me. I'm not even gonna be too picky today because I don't really care that much. But I feel clean in my car, so I feel better. Now it's time to go to the store. Winco was a really good place to do my Thanksgiving shopping. I feel like most of the things were less expensive than I could get anywhere else. There were a few things at Fred Meyer's that I feel like were less expensive, but since I was already at Winco and I could get a majority things at Winco, I just stuck it through with all the Winco products. I got all the stuff that I needed for my desserts, which I'm super excited about my desserts this year because I'm making both of my pies homemade, which last year I bought a frozen pumpkin pie and I burned it so bad it was not even edible. So I'm super excited to try this again, except make it myself. I've got the stuff that I need for stuffing and green bean casserole. I got everything I needed for a meat and cheese tray, just in case the food doesn't get done early enough and we get hungry. This is the first year I'm gonna try and make sweet potato casserole without using canned sweet potatoes. I'm making my rolls from scratch this year, so I needed to restock my flour, and then I also got a few things to make dishes a little easier the day after Thanksgiving. It was the night before Thanksgiving, and she had to make her desserts so that they would be ready for Thanksgiving Day. So for this first dessert, I'm making a chocolate strawberry cheesecake fluffy pie. I don't know. I didn't really have a recipe for this one. I just kind of wanted to do what I usually do for my cheesecake dip, except put it in a pie shell. So that's what we're going for with this recipe. I did a block of cream cheese, some Cool Whip, a whole container of marshmallow fluff, and then I mixed that all together. I added some strawberry pie filling into my little mixture that I got going on, and then I put it in a pie shell. That's really it. I feel like it would kind of harden up in the fridge as it sat overnight. So that's what I was really hoping with this one. Coming from future Ashlyn, no, it did not harden that much in the fridge, but it also still held its form. So I think this is good if you like fluffier, sweeter cheesecake, because I wasn't about to put sour cream in my cheesecake. I am not a sour cheesecake liking girly. I don't really like that. I like this sweeter cheesecake. So I'm still trying to find the balance with that. But I only used about half of the can of strawberries, and then I had a few extra strawberries to decorate the pie. And I was super proud of it though. For presentation, this looked pretty professional. Like, I was genuinely really happy with how this one looked and turned out. Now I'm doing a super simple pumpkin pie recipe that I found on Facebook, and I made sure to send it to Zane so that I could save it and come back to it later, because this is the first ever pumpkin pie that I've made from scratch-ish. I didn't really want to do a traditional pie crust anyway. I don't really like pie crust that much, so I felt like the graham cracker crust was absolutely perfect to put with this pumpkin pie filling. So I did a basic pumpkin pie filling, I mixed it together, and then I put it in a 10-inch graham cracker crust. And I feel like it turned out really well for the first ever pumpkin pie that I've made from semi-scratch. But I don't feel like I would do it any different if I did this next year, because it turned out really, really good. And I really recommend the graham cracker crust if you're not a fan of traditional pie crust. That's honestly the part of pumpkin pie that always turns me off, is like the last bite that you have with the traditional crust, because I just don't like the crust like that. This recipe was super vague, and she just told me to put it into the oven until the pumpkin pie didn't jiggle anymore. So the pumpkin pie was done, and I just let it cool until the next day. I let it sit on the counter until it was cool enough, put the lid on, and then put that baby in the fridge. It is Thanksgiving morning. Last night Zane rolled his ankle really bad coming out of the camper. So now he is bedridden. I am gonna go to the store and get him an ankle brace so that he can at least walk today, because it's pretty bad. I have been one to sprain my ankle several times in this relationship. This is the first time I've ever seen Zane in the 6.5 years that we've been together bedridden from rolling his ankle. So I got him some breakfast sandwiches too, and I really hope that this ankle wrap fits him, but it had the best support. I can't believe he's never sprained his ankle before. I agreed to instruct a class today on Thanksgiving. I have a lot of people signed up, and I wrote it briefly last night, and I added a bunch of new moves that I saw from social media. So I'm excited to execute that on the mat today. But I'm a little nervous because there's like 14 people signed up. I know it'll go just fine. It's funny how I can still get nervous after doing this for several years. For my little boost of energy today, I'm doing Mio Energy and some tangerine sparkling water. Little homemade energy drink moment. It's literally so foggy outside. I missed my exit. I was so confident. I was just thinking about a bunch of stuff in my head, and the next thing you know, I'm past the exit. And the next exit to get off is like 10 minutes up the interstate. So I wanted to get there early, but that's not happening. Just so everyone knows, my yoga sculpt class went amazing. It was so much fun. I had so many people in there, and I even got a 5-star review. So I felt pretty good about that. I think I'm done being scared about the negative review people, because at the end of the day, they just negative people. Like, ugh. Anyway, so I was a little nervous because I forgot about my turkey, and I forgot that you're supposed to put it in with enough time. So I didn't even put it in before my class, and then when I got home, I was like, oh crap, I didn't even do my turkey yet. So I put it in the toaster oven for a little bit to get it a little warm, and then I rubbed some butter all over it, and I seasoned it too. This might make you cringe because honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing with the turkey. I don't. I just put a bunch of seasonings all over around it. I rubbed them in with my hands, and then I used this gravy packet that they said not to touch until the turkey was ready, but I was like, you know what, it's in the crock pot, I'm gonna use this as the liquid. So I poured the gravy in there, and I turned the crock pot on high and hoped for the best. And then as I pulled my bread maker out, I'm like, dang, I really should have started these rolls last night. I should have started these rolls last night. At this point, it's like 1 p.m. and I'm finally getting to my rolls. So I just basically do really simple recipes that I find on Google. Like for these rolls, I typed in honey butter rolls, and I went with the first recipe. So I followed that recipe. I dumped it into my bread maker, liquids to flour, and then I just let my bread maker do its thing. That's why I love this bread maker. But since I didn't take enough time to actually start my bread on time, just like I didn't take enough time to start anything on time, if you want me to be honest, for Thanksgiving dinner, except for my pies. They're chilling in the fridge. I did perfect with those. I don't feel like I gave the rolls enough time to rise, and this is making me think like maybe I should just go ahead and buy instant yeast next time, because this whole waiting 3 hours until it's risen is not gonna do it for me in the future. So anyways, I basically ended my bread making cycle early, so I didn't really give it any time to rise in there because I didn't think about the first rise with the bread. And I already started greasing my pan and rolling out my rolls because I felt like I didn't have enough time. It was like 2 o'clock when I started actually cooking these rolls. And I know with Thanksgiving dinner, you're supposed to have it earlier because no one's eating lunch. So word of advice for my future self is start the freaking food earlier. What are you doing, girl? Maybe you should have made these rolls last night, but it's okay. Everything still turned out fine, realistically. I wrapped them up and I put them at my self-rising roll station, which is just in front of the heater on this elevated stand. And online it was trying to tell me 3 hours to rise for the second rise. That's why I'm like, wow, instant yeast it is next time. So I made the little meat and cheese tray as well because it was starting to get late and the food was nowhere near done. So I cut up some cheese and I put my little salami with the crackers, and I let the boys eat before dinner because we still had a few hours to go. But this really did tide us over. It really was nice to have. I only let the rolls rise for like an hour, and then I went ahead and spread some butter on them to get them ready for the oven. I know that you probably should let them rise a lot longer, and I'll give it to you, they were dense, but they were still good. Now it is time to start my sweet potato casserole. Like I said, I've only ever made this from a can, so I'm trying it out for the first time with actual potatoes. I peeled my sweet potatoes and then I diced them up into nice little chunks. They didn't have to be too pretty because sweet potatoes are actually a lot harder to dice than real potatoes because they are so firm. I don't know why I called russet potatoes real potatoes, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, I diced these babies up and I put them in my little disposable pan. I watched some videos before this and a lot of people boiled their sweet potatoes before putting them in the oven, but I don't know if they were making mashed sweet potatoes if they boiled them. I put a little water in my pan, which I probably, looking back at, would not have done if I knew how watery they were gonna be when they came out. Now I'm turning this pumpkin pie into a pumpkin cream pie because I love an atrocious amount of whipped cream on my pumpkin pie. I just did the rest of my Cool Whip, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and some pumpkin pie seasoning, and then I mixed it together and I threw it on top of the pumpkin pie that I had ready from last night. I feel like this was so good, and it's good to prep your whipped cream ahead of time if you're going to do the brown sugar mixed into it, because when you first mix the brown sugar in, it still needs time to dissolve into the whipped cream to make it taste really good. But yes, I definitely recommend doing this. This was so good, and I felt so fancy too. My pie looked so profesh. Now that I gave my sweet potatoes enough time to get a little tender in the oven, this is when I decided to add my topping. But maybe I should have added my topping before I started cooking the sweet potatoes. I don't know what I'm doing with this one, okay? We just experiment as we go, and then next year I'm sure that I'll be better. See, I thought adding the extra water was fine before I got to the finished result of the sweet potatoes, and they were just completely watery. So I would not add water into your sweet potatoes. I should have just added the brown sugar ahead of time. For my green bean casserole, I did a big bag of green beans, half a block of cream cheese, and some seasoning, and then I threw that in the oven so that my cream cheese could dissolve, because I like adding cream cheese over cream of mushroom, but that's honestly up to you. I just feel like the cream cheese is a little more healthier, but I don't know. So yes, after adding a ton of brown sugar and pumpkin pie spice into my potatoes and letting them cook longer, then I added marshmallows and cinnamon sprinkles on the top, and I set it to the side to put into the oven to finish cooking after the green beans were a little closer to being done. After I felt like the green beans had cooked long enough, I mixed in the cream cheese block so that it could all be incorporated well for me to put on the crispy onions for the green bean casserole. Once I felt like the green bean casserole and the sweet potatoes were good to go, I started making my boiling water for my stuffing because the stuffing only takes like 5 minutes. I was going to do more of a homemade stuffing, but after seeing how much money I'd already spent and how much effort I'd have to put into everything else, I was like, box stuffing it is. Here is the spread we had going on. Zane's brother brought ham and mashed potatoes, which just added the perfect esque to our Thanksgiving dinner, and my turkey breast turned out just fine in the crock pot. I love cooking a turkey breast instead of a full turkey, especially just for 2 people. It all turned out really, really, really good, and I feel like I had the perfect Thanksgiving plate. My desserts turned out phenomenal. My cheesecake was a little soft, but my pumpkin pie was perfect. Okay, I absolutely love how the graham cracker crust turned out and how the graham cracker crust got a little soft with the pumpkin puree on top. So yes, I would definitely say we had a great and happy Thanksgiving, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and enjoying the holiday with me. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and tell me in the comments what you did, what you had for food, and I just hope that it was great. So thanks for hanging out with me, friend. I'll see you next time.